So you've just quoted your first product on Alibaba, and you want to get samples, of course, you want to get the ball rolling. But your supplier gets back to you with the price, and to your surprise, it's way more than you're expecting. Sometimes it can be 200, 300, 400 US dollars for a customized sample just to get your brand name on it. I mean, it might be a highly customized piece, but sometimes it can just be a basic product with your logo engraved on it without any kind of need for molding or anything really expensive or complicated. And you're thinking, it's like, obviously, it sounds like a joke. Like, why would I pay this much for a sample? But there's actually some kind of method to the madness. And that's not to defend any kind of like price gouging strategy, which sometimes it can be, but a lot of the time it's not. You just have to think about the perspective from the supplier themselves. And once you do that, it actually starts to make a bit more sense. Think of it this way: all day, every day, suppliers have people messaging them, asking for quotations, asking for samples, this, that, anything. But what most people don't realize is that those samples, they can easily take 5 or 10 hours of manpower across various different people in the factory just to get one sample done. And factories, well, they basically never make any money on these samples. In fact, if they do charge a low price, they basically lose money if they really calculate the cost involved. A lot of the time, they're just testing to see how serious you are. You know, there's lots of people asking this every day, and you can just ask them, hey, can you refund this fee during production if we make the order? And most of the time, they'll actually say yes. They really have people just wasting their time all day, every day, and ultimately for them, it doesn't matter. You know, they're a business. They need to make money. And sure, yeah, it's business. You have to do a lot of running around, and 99% of things, they often don't come off. But if they can weed out some of the non-serious people from the beginning, that maybe they're just taking advantage of them to make samples, then pricing high is actually one of the best ways that they can test the water with their customers. If you have a really specific supplier in mind and they're pricing too high for you, you can ask for a non-customized sample in the beginning just to test the quality at first. I mean, that can make sense. That can often save you some money. Otherwise, you know, you can drop a few $100s, like I mentioned in the beginning, 300, 400 on something that it might come out wrong, and then you just wasted a bunch of money. But eventually, if everything's right, you're going to have to move forward and basically accept that you're basically going to be overpaying just to get something going in the beginning. Of course, it's better to pay less for samples if you can, and you can shop around. Some suppliers still do customized samples with your logo on it for pretty cheap. I mean, everyone here, take this tennis ball pressurizer. This is match standard from my previous video. You see they put the logo on here. They did this for like 50 to 60 US dollars, which was pretty generous of them. But that's because this supplier themselves, this is a new product. They really want to find partners to get this product out into the market. So that's why they're willing to invest more into it themselves. But if you're trying to get something generic to market, something they're probably selling a lot of, you know, you're going to have to convince them that you're really serious about producing this. That's why they might also charge a lot of money for it. So my point is, learn to understand what kind of leverage you have with a supplier to determine if the pricing's fair or not. You know, sometimes it might be easy for them to make a sample. Sometimes it might take them even more than 5 or 10 hours. And also, you need to realize that, you know, there's just a certain level of risk attached with everything you do, especially when it comes to making a new product. And sometimes you just have to take that risk. Anyway, thanks for watching. I think it's cool to make videos on this kind of thing. I know it's not interesting to that many people, but if you are serious about making products in China, it's kind of cool to understand the factory perspective as well, because sometimes people, they message suppliers in Alibaba and it just feels like they're living on a completely different planet, despite both speaking English, you know. But actually often it's just a case of you both have different interests. I mean, also there are sometimes some moron salespeople too, but you know, this is kind of just how it is. Anyway, please check the video here. Actually, I spoke about a Chinese factory situation where someone was copying our product in 2020, and what we did to take it down is actually, you got ways to fight back in China. A lot of people don't realize this. But anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'm out.